Good morning, everyone. This is Tony, Tainted Lord 87, and here's another week and another playlist. Hopefully, everyone enjoys this, and let's go ahead and get started. The first CD that I'm going to be spinning this week is Slaughter to Prevail, and the album Misery Silmar. Basically, a very heavy, aggressive, in your face deathcore album that has Alex Terrible doing his most brutal, inhumane, monstrous, guttural vocals I've ever heard from a deathcore band. And yeah, not really much more to say is that this is some very um, heavy, aggressive, in your face deathcore with a lot of chuggy riffs and some brutal, monstrous, deep guttural vocals. And if you're into that kind of deathcore, I definitely recommend check out Slaughter to Prevail. And yeah, Misery Silmon by Slaughter to Prevail. A really a really good deathcore album if you're into that kind of sound. Okay, the next two albums are from the same band. The first one being Cannibal Corpse and the album Violence Unimagined. If I remember correctly, this is the first album that has Eric Rutan from Hate Eternal doing guitars on this album. And well, if you've heard of Cannibal Corpse before, you know what to expect. This is some very heavy, fast, aggressive, in your face, crushing death metal. If you heard of Cannibal Corpse before, you know what to expect, and they deliver. Like I said, Cannibal Corpse Violence Unimagined is just some crushing, in your face, aggressive death metal from a band who's really consistent in delivering that sound. So yeah, Cannibal Corpse Violence Unimagined, a very very awesome death metal album from this band. Next up is Cannibal Corpse and the album Torture. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is probably one of the faster sounding albums that Cannibal Corpse has ever done. I don't know, to me, I feel like the tempo on this album has gone much faster and much more aggressive. And yeah, another Cannibal Corpse album that delivers some fast, speedy, aggressive, crushing death metal. And yeah, if you heard of Cannibal Corpse before, you know what to expect. But yeah, to me, this is another excellent death metal album from Cannibal Corpse. Just to me, it's a little bit more faster sounding than other Cannibal Corpse albums, in my opinion. But still, this is a great album. So yeah, Cannibal Corpse Torture, just a awesome, awesome death metal album. Okay, the next band is from a band that some people might cringe at, and I can totally see why. But I feel like the early stuff is actually pretty damn good. Yeah, the early stuff is pretty damn good in my eyes. And that band is Five Finger Death Punch. Yeah, Five Finger Death Punch and the album The Way of the Fist. Yeah, I know this band gets a lot of hate and people will cringe on this band, and I can totally see why. But I think Five Finger Death Punch, The Way of the Fist, is an excellent, straight up modern metal album. Has some good leads, some good riffs, and some good aggressive vocals. And I don't know. To me, I think the early stuff is definitely better than the later stuff. Which honestly, I don't mind. But yeah, Five Finger Death Punch, The Way of the Fist is to me a really good album from this band. Yeah, pretty bold to say, but that's just how I feel. But yeah, this is just a solid modern metal album, in my personal opinion. So yeah, Five Finger Death Punch, The Way of the Fist. Really good stuff in my opinion. Okay, next up is Queens of the Stone Age, Villains. Yeah, just a really solid hard rock, southern rock sounding album. I think Queens of the Stone Age did better albums than this, and this one is just a bit of a step down in my personal opinion. But overall, it's still a solid hard rock album, southern rock album, whatever you want to call it. I think this is a pretty good album from Queens of the Stone Age, and Villains is a pretty good album from this band. So yeah, Queens of the Stone Age, Villains, not a bad album from this band. Okay, the last two albums that I'm going to show is from the same band. The first one being The Showdown, and the album A Course of Obliteration. Just a really excellent groove metalcore album that's very heavy and aggressive and very groovy sounding in its riffs. Yeah, it has some very groovy riffs and can be very aggressive as well. And yeah, to me, this is a good groove metalcore album with some great thrashy riffs and aggressive vocals, and yeah, a really good album from The Showdown. So yeah, A Chorus of Obliteration by The Showdown. A really good album from this band. And the last album that I'm going to show off is The Showdown. Yeah, The Showdown, Blood in the Gills. Again, like the previous one, this is a really good groove metalcore album, and another excellent album from this band. And I think they really added more grooviness to the riffs, but that's just me. But overall, this is just another solid groove metalcore album from the Showdown. So, yep, Blood in the Gills by the Showdown. And that's it, everyone. That's my playlist for this week. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Don't know when my next video is going to be, but hopefully everyone enjoys this one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.